everyone. We've got a very, very exciting situation here. We are at a leopard's den site. And if any of you are joining for the first time, we've been spending a lot of time here, but we haven't had any luck in seeing the mother around. But just before you joined us, we could see her head. So she is here. And hopefully if she moves a little bit out into the open, we'll be able to see her and her tiny little cub, which is only about 6 weeks old. Now, what we've learnt is that there's a very deep cave in and underneath all this undergrowth, and there's a kind of a fallen down tree, and basically she can completely disappear. So I think when we have been coming here in the past, we've just been assuming that Mom is not here, but she could well be. It's actually just impossible to know. And as Senzo, who I'm teamed up with on camera this afternoon, zooms out, you can see that she's chosen a very well hidden and secluded spot. My name is Scott, and it's great to have you on safari with us down in South Africa. It's a cloudy day here, and it's nice and cool. We've been loving the cool weather, and it's not just myself. Our Tristan is also out this afternoon, and his plans also involve looking for a leopard. Oh, there we go. There's a bit of movement. Who's that now? That's Mom's head. There we go. Now you can see her. And that's really interesting stuff. So, very, very well camouflaged and hidden in here. Now, this cub is absolutely tiny, so we don't want to try and get any closer to this den site. This mom can be quite protective and therefore will not really tolerate us getting any closer to the den. So it'll be far better off for us to stay put where we are and slowly just get this cub used to us as vehicles, as humans, and our voices. So that way, when it grows up, it will be relaxed with our presence. Ordinarily, leopards will be very, very shy and secretive. So we are very fortunate here in the Sabi Sands, where we've definitely got some of the... Oh, let's have a look. She's moving again now. She's just moved into another spot, and I think she's actually going to be heading out for her hunting this evening, because she's probably been here all day, and who knows, maybe she'll take us back to a kill, or maybe she will take us hunting. We're not certain if she does have some food at the moment. Look very closely, though, because we could see this tiny cub moving at any moment. Attacks, I can just see Thandi, no visual of the Pantuan, and it looks like she might be possibly getting mobile and heading out. Sorry guys, I was just updating Taxon, one of the guides, on what was going on with the sighting. It's a very, very tricky sighting. Obviously, a lot of people will want to try and spend time here in the hope that they will see this tiny cub, but we're in a very well suited kind of situation to spend time in a given area hoping to see a cub, as opposed to the guides with their guests who are spending a very short time here and therefore will probably want to go off in search of more guaranteed sightings. So it looks like Mom's just repositioned and laid down, so she's not ready to go hunting just yet. But I'm glad we got to at least see a few glimpses of her. Hello, Neka. You would like to know what kind of prey will leopard eat? Well, they're extremely versatile with what they are happy to feed on. They're certainly not fussy. And their ideal prey is kind of small to medium-sized antelope. So small antelope in this area will comprise of duiker, steenbok, impala, and babies of inyala, kudu. Most of the small herbivores can be fed on by leopard, but they have also been known to feed on fish, on birds, on snakes, on just about anything they can, overpower tortoises. So a strong female leopard like this will be able to be a little bit more fussy, and she's got hunting prowess and skill now, so she will mainly feed on antelope, maybe the odd hare. But young leopards will certainly be a lot less skilled and therefore have to take whatever they can get, which can make for some interesting interesting scenes. Very good. Now we're going to stay here. We're going to stay put in the hope that we either get a visual of the cub. If not, we get to at least follow this mother as she goes out hunting. You guys are going to be heading off to jump on board with Tristan, who's the other vehicle traveling around the Sabi Sands with me, and he has also got a surprise for you. Well, that is exciting prospects with Tristan and some big male lions. Now, we've repositioned the vehicle ever so slightly, and it appears like there's a very, very strange situation unfolding here. She appears to be eating something. Now, I don't know what... There you can see. You can see she was chewing there. Now, I don't know what on earth has got into her mind, but it makes absolutely zero sense to be eating anything at a den site, because, of course, the scent given off from the blood and the kill, whatever it may be, is of course going to possibly attract other predators and threats to a tiny little cub. Now, my only possible explanation for what is happening here is if maybe something like a snake or maybe a silly francolin just like kind of walked too close to them and then she instinctively pounced on it, but we just can't tell what it is she's feeding on. But there's no two ways about it. She is eating something. Now, the only other possible scenario is that maybe this is not Thandi and it's another leopard that's eating her cub. But I hope that is not the case. I can literally hear bones crunching now. What have you found? Well, threat that was getting close to her cub. Now, I did mention that maybe, just maybe, it's a leopardess or a male leopard that's coming here and killed her cub while she is away. But I think that's highly, highly unlikely, because I was here about half an hour before you guys joined us, before the drive started, and we definitely did get a visual of the little cub and Thandi. So unless she left and another leopard arrived within a little half an hour gap, which is highly unlikely, that would be the only way that it would be another leopard. So fear not, I doubt that's the case, but we do need to exhaust all possible avenues of what could be going on here. Who knows, maybe the cub's down there also having a good old snack. And maybe leopards will bring young cubs a tiny bit of food from time to time, but it's certainly not something that I've ever read about or heard about. Fascinating. Senzo initially said to me he thinks that the leopard's eating something, and I told him he must be mad, because surely that's not even an option. And lo and behold, once we repositioned, I too quickly realized that she was eating. So well done, Senzo. Now, like I said a bit earlier, it is quite a tricky sighting in terms of not the best visuals, but we're going to be extra sensitive, because like any mother with a newborn child, she's going to be naturally very protective over it. So we don't want to give her the wrong idea. You can see she's completely relaxed with our presence where we are, and we would like to keep it that way. So not the best views, but if we're patient, who knows, maybe we will get lucky and see this tiny little cub. Now, I think it was Sam, you were asking, would she actually eat her own cub? And I have seen a leopard eating her own cub before, but it had been killed by a male leopard. So it was already dead when she decided to feed on it. It was a very tricky scene to watch. And even though the cub was dead, it was just bizarre that the mother was eating it, I thought. But they will, and I guess it's a bit of closure, a bit of extra nutrition. But I did see the cub running around here half an hour ago, so she would never kill her own cub.
But yes, possibly feed on it if it was killed by another animal. I think on a few occasions leopards have also stumbled upon pythons that have recently caught and killed their cubs, and whilst attacking the python eventually. Now, when we initially saw her head moving like this, we kind of assumed that she was actually licking the cub and moving the cub around, but that wasn't the case. But she will be doing a lot of cleaning of that cub. So that is also something to look forward to. Hello Genesis, you would like to know why do leopards have spots? And it's to help them blend in. If they were just one color, it would be easy to see her in this thick bush, but because she's got lots of little spots, it makes her that way she'll be able to creep up and catch her meals. It's very difficult for leopards, as fast as they are, to catch their prey, so they need all the help they can get, and camouflage definitely helps get them close to their prey before they launch their attack. And to give you an idea, Genesis, they need to be very, very close to their prey, as close as about 5 meters. So if you take 5 big steps, as long as you can stretch your legs, that's how close a leopard needs to be before it pounces. As Senzo zooms out, you get a good idea of how well she disappears in there, and what a great spot she's chosen to tuck her tiny little cub away. Wonderful stuff. Now I think we're just going to have to be quite patient here, and I'm just wishing we knew we could work out what she was feeding on in there, because it's still baffling me that she's actually eating something with her cub right there. Hi Necker, you would like to know, how do they make their claws come out? Well, it's a good question. It kind of happens automatically, you could say, as soon as they extend and pull certain muscles, like when they're climbing up a tree or latching onto their prey, those claws will come out of their sheath. So there's certain specific little muscles that they obviously can pull on, and then that pushes their sharp claws out of their protective sheath, just like a domestic cat. So even a domestic cat, when it stretches out and yawns in the morning, it often puts its claws out like that. So it's a combination of the muscles pulling on those nails and then pushing them out of their sheaths. And what's also interesting, Nick, is it's just the lion and leopard out of the African big cats that have their claws in a sheath. The cheetah is different to them. Their claws stick out permanently like a dog, and the reason being is cheetahs are a little bit different to lion and leopard. They don't really need to latch onto their prey as much as lion and leopard do. They're better at tripping up their prey, and they run very, very quickly, so they need those toenails to help with grip as they sprint across the plains. What's going on down there, Thandi? It looks like she's still nibbling on something. Now, the only reason I'm 100% sure she's feeding, because now it looks like she could actually be licking something, like the cub, while she cleans it. But I did hear some crunching of bones a little bit earlier, so she's definitely having a snack of sorts. Okay, very good. Well, while we wait patiently here for this leopard to hopefully come out and reveal her and her tiny little cub, we're going to send you back to Tristan, who's still with the lion. Now, I'm not too sure what she's feeding on still, but she's still chewing on something. And it's absolutely killing me not knowing what it is. The fact that she's been chewing for quite some time now indicates that it's either something very chewy or something quite big. Oh, can we see anything there? Any feathers?
So tricky. Hello, Thandi. Hello, Senzo. And I'm not entirely certain what her moves are going to be. I'm hoping at some point she gets up and maybe goes for a drink to wash down her snack, and then possibly head off to go and look for a more elaborate snack, although I've got no idea how elaborate her snack is, but she has been chewing on whatever it is for quite some time. But who knows? I'm told it's a guess mainly when women are pregnant they eat strange things, but maybe also once they've given birth their desire to eat strange things continues. So maybe that's why she's chewing on who knows what. Still no sign of the cub whatsoever. But it could be anywhere. The thing is with this den site, her spot is where we can see her now. She's outside. She's like out on the veranda, so to speak. When she really wants to tuck herself away, she disappears completely, and we cannot get even the slightest of views of her. So, hard to be certain of how deep that cave is, but we do know that she certainly can disappear. Jason, you would like to know how old is this cub? And we're guessing somewhere around 5 or 6 weeks. But nobody's 100% sure as to when she exactly gave birth. But I think Tristan was following her movements quite closely, and her behavior heading into the same area time and time again indicated that she may well have given birth in an old termite mound. And I think James down into that termite mound in its entirety, but Tristan had kind of forecast that that's where he thought the den was. And I'm not sure, we must actually ask Tristan. He was around here. I only arrived here at the beginning of December, so I've only been here for the last 3 weeks. But 3 weeks prior to my arrival, I'm not too sure exactly what they saw. They could have seen suckle marks, Jason, which would have indicated that she had given birth around her nipples. But the guess, and I mean, even looking at the cub, the few glimpses I've seen, I would also guess it to be somewhere in and around that age. I wonder if we shouldn't, I don't think repositioning to our first spot's going to help us here. I think we just kind of have to stay put. We are in the best possible spot at a safe distance, or at a respectful distance rather. We could creep forward about another 6 meters and look straight down onto her, but we're not going to do that. I think we'll be overstepping the boundary if we were to try that, so we'll just stay here. And it's so important that we are sensitive in times like this, because the future of this leopard cub is kind of, we are helping to mold it, and if we give it any negative memories or reminders of us as humans and we scare it, then we could scar this little cub for life. And we would hate to do that. We want all the leopards in this area to be completely relaxed with our presence, as if we're not even there. And what that takes is gently and slowly getting them used to the sound of my voice, or our voices rather, not my voice in specific. Also the sound of the vehicles, the presence of the vehicles. So definitely think the spot we're in here is quite good, but obviously not for a good view. I'm told you guys have been having a wonderful time with Ralph and some elephants, and that is where you're going to be heading straight back to. As you can see, this leopard has now moved out of her hiding place, and I'm hoping her cub is going to come along with her. She has been calling very gently, obviously possibly telling it to stay behind. I'm guessing that is the command she was giving to the young cub. But who knows, maybe it's a little rebel and it's going to come out and show us its face. But
hard to be certain. What's also hard to be certain is the state of her hunger. Now, what is going on? Are you Thandi? I hope you are Thandi. I'm guessing you are. But you see, even how she's trying to bury something now. She's trying to bury the kill, but this is absolutely ludicrous. Thandi, why did you get to a point where you actually had to bury anything at your den sites? Now, her spots definitely don't look to be shadows. The spot patterns above her waist. Check because of the fact that she was chewing on something in there, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Watch very closely. You may see her communicating with her little cub. I doubt you'll be able to hear it, but it's a kind of soft whimpering grunt. Oof, 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 something like that. And I'm guessing that that is her telling the cub that it's time for her to head off and go and look for some dinner. And you must just tuck yourself away as deeply as you can into... Oh, there's the cub at the top. Quickly, Senzo, to the right of the tree. How incredible is this? Look at how cute it is. Can you believe this? How cool. It's calling back to its mom. Yeah. This is absolutely incredible. We got the best view imaginable. I really didn't think that was going to happen, but I'm so happy it did. A cute little courageous cub playing so far away from its mom. And it'll be interesting to see what happens when it sees us. I'm pretty sure it's not too focused on us at this stage, but it'll probably stop in its tracks, and who knows, maybe it's coming to have a closer look at us. How incredibly cute is this? And I'm sorry we're going to have to say goodbye to all the school kids that joined us. It's been great having you with us and answering your questions, and you couldn't have got any luckier. If I was you, I would beg your teacher dearly to keep watching, as I'm sure you're already doing. And look at how cute it is. Oh my word. Its eyes are still a little bluey color. And it's absolutely tiny. Look at how short its little legs are. Well done, little cub. I'm so happy you brave. And give us an incredible view of you. That was far better than I could have ever imagined or hoped for. Thandi, thank you for being such a good mom and relaxed with us here. We are very happy that you're doing a great job in raising that little cub. Whew, my heart is racing. That was incredible. I'm still a little bit perplexed as to what Thandi was chewing on earlier. I can't get that out of my head. But we will let it slide for the very reason. Now, I don't know what you guys think, but I think it will definitely be worth inviting a Facebook audience to join us, because if that little cub comes out again, I think we've got a strong chance of gathering a few more members onto the Safari Live family, and I think we really should try and share this with as many people as physically possible. Who knows, maybe the cub's not going to come out again, but I think it's a risk worth taking. I'm just going to keep quiet for a second, just before we introduce everyone on Facebook.
Hello everyone on Facebook. We are welcoming you to a leopard's den site. You can see the mother there. She's been tucked away, hidden in a small cave under a fallen down tree. And about a minute ago, there you can see the fallen down tree. About a minute ago, we got a visual of her tiny, tiny 6-week-old cub. It was just kind of up there, up above the bank that she's down below on. And we are hoping dearly that we get another view of this tiny, cute little fluffy cub. I think we might be able to get lucky now, but we have to be very, very sensitive. We don't want to put any pressure on this mother. She can be protective, understandably. Possibly thinking about heading out to go and get herself a meal. So she's possibly saying goodbye to her little cub for the evening, or at least until she secures herself a meal. Now we do have to just be patient. I strongly, strongly urge you guys to stick around if you want to see them. It is definitely actually the smallest leopard cub I've ever seen. And we are hugely, hugely lucky to be sitting here. We are coming to you 100% live from the Sabi Sands in South Africa. And pop any questions you have in the comment box below, and I will get through as many of them as I possibly can. Now, I must just reiterate, we are going to be extra, extra sensitive due to the fact that she does have a tiny little cub here. So as tempting as it is to try and drive the vehicle around and get different views, we are not going to take any chances. We also want to make sure that, just like this cub's mother, she too, or he too, will be relaxed with our presence when he or she grows up. Because ordinarily leopards are incredibly shy and elusive animals. So for us to be allowed this close into her den site is testament to, oh, there's the cub. Oh, it's still got tiny little blue eyes. You give it a good clean, Mom. Take a seat there, please, and then hopefully the cub will come back again. Now, this little cub seems to be a little bit of a rebel. It's moving around quite a lot. I certainly didn't. Now, it looked like her mother was kind of choking there, but it was actually chuffing. It's a form of communication where leopards kind of exhale at a high rate. And she was talking to her little cub. I'm not sure exactly what she was saying. Hello, Lovemore. You're watching in Zimbabwe. It's wonderful to have you with us. And thank you for letting us know. Now, Senzo's doing an incredibly good job on camera here. It's delicate business, focusing from the distance we're at when there's so much thick undergrowth. This is so cool. Now, this is the second time we've ever actually got a view of this little cub. And yes, Karen, this is definitely the smallest, youngest little leopard cub I've ever seen. Where's Mom taking it now? It may be that she's bringing it out a little bit closer to us. I hope that is the case, because we're going to get some great views if it is. I think the little cub's just at her feet. Oh, Mom. Now, obviously that was a little snarl. It was directed at us, but we're going to stay put where we are. I think it's just the fact that she's actually come closer to us, as opposed to us moving closer to her. But it was a small display of her kind of thoughts about us. She's been fine with us the whole afternoon until now. And what's happening now is very interesting. She appeared to be feeding on something here, and it looks like she's actually trying to cover up whatever she was feeding on to make sure that there's no scent left behind. There's a little cub again, more than scents. And
was absolutely flabbergasted by the fact that she was chewing on something at a den site. It certainly doesn't make any sense, because of course that could attract any possible threats like other leopard, lion and hyena, the scent of blood. So I'm guessing and hoping that it was just an opportunistic kill of something that possibly slithered through the den like a snake, or possibly a small bird that simply provided her with an easy meal. Hard to be certain though. Tommy, you would like to know how long have I been sitting here waiting for her to come out, and for an hour now, and for about an hour before our live safari actually started. So before we invited all of you guys on Facebook to join us, we were kind of midway through one of our standard 3-hour afternoon broadcasts, and we just couldn't resist inviting all of you guys on Facebook to join in on this incredible scene. Kelly, you'd like to know last day, which is a huge relief, because at this time of the year in the low veld of South Africa, it can be scorching hot with high levels of humidity and temperatures reaching into the high 90s Fahrenheit. Earl, you would like to know how old is this female leopard that has given birth to this wonderful little cub? And she's 11 years old at the moment. Her life has been quite well followed, and interestingly, she's moved into her mother's territory. Her mother was a female leopard called Karula, and we encompassed our camp and our property, but sadly it seems like her mother died a few months ago, and now not only Thandi, this leopard here, but also her sister, a female leopard called Shadow, is moving into this area where her mother used to reign dominance. Tommy, you would like to know if this leopard would bring the cub food? No, she certainly wouldn't and shouldn't, and now that's why she's continuing to try to cover whatever it is she was feeding on, possibly thinking to herself, asking herself, why did I do that silly thing and have a snack at the den? And Tommy, for the first 3 months of a leopard's existence, they will rely entirely on meat and continue to drink milk, but also start feeding on meat. But this cub is only about 5 or 6 weeks old. We're not entirely sure exactly how old, but 5 or 6 weeks is, we feel, an accurate guesstimate. And ordinarily what will happen now is she will go away from the den, possibly 2 or 3 miles away, in search of food, make a kill, feed on it, come back to the den, feed the cub, go back to the kill. So it can be a very tricky time for a mother leopard, looking after a cub, looking after herself, finding meals. There's a lot going into her day at the moment. I'm so happy we are having the best sighting we've ever had of this little cub. Now, Robert, you would like to know if this leopard is aware of our presence. 100%. She would have known we were coming long before we even got here. She would have heard the vehicle. Their senses are incredibly acute. And once or twice you did let off 1 or 2 snarls, but it's not uncommon for leopards to do that from time to time, just to say, hey, you stay where you are. If she give us any further signs, we would slowly move out of the area. But for now, she's aware we are here, but kind of oblivious to us. A lot of the leopards in this area have spent a lot of time in and amongst game viewing vehicles like this, so they've been exposed to them from when they're little cubs, just like this little cub is being exposed to us now, and that is what causes them to be relaxed with our presence. As I said that, I thought she was going to give us another snarl there. Mary, you'd like to know if she only had 1 cub and if that's normal. I highly doubt she only gave birth to 1 cub. She in all likelihood gave birth to 2 or 3. That's kind of a more standard litter size, but the mortality rates of these tiny little furballs as they pop out is very, very high. Now, for the first 10 days to 2 weeks of a leopard's existence, it is completely blind and fairly helpless. It's just like a little worm rolling about on the ground. And that is why their mortality rate is so high. There's so many different predators that can feed on these little cubs. Dawn, you would like to know what predators exactly would feed on a young leopard cub? Pythons, birds of prey, other snakes that aren't even as big as pythons, hyenas, male leopards, a female leopard who doesn't belong here. And when I say male leopards, it's male leopards that are not the father of these cubs. So rogue males moving through the area will kill cubs that they did not father in the hope that they will then be able to shack up with the mother. Lions will also kill leopard cubs. So there's a large amount of possible predators that will feed on them. Who knows, even small mongooses will possibly feed on them. Oh, some good views. It looks like the cub's urging mom not to go away or possibly to play with it. Hopefully we'll see it latching onto the end of mom's tail. It's one of their cubs. Eileen, yes, the smell of whatever she was feeding on will certainly or possibly attract other predators to the scene, and that's why we did see her trying her best to cover the remains of whatever that kill was with some sand a bit earlier. I must commend Senzo again on some great camera work, because everything as they move through this very, very thick undergrowth. Inviting you all onto this live broadcast that we weren't going to see any more visuals of the cub, but look at that, it's practicing its climbing in the process of, I think, trying to latch onto mom's tail. And it's important to remember that within the next 6 weeks, this little cub will be going to kills, which means it's going to be exposed to the likes of hyena, lions, and other predators. So it's imperative that it can climb up, because that is one of the leopard's best defense mechanisms. Being great climbers, they can often escape their threats by clambering up trees, and it looks like this little cub is doing just that right now. Now, I must reiterate, this is by far the best sighting we have ever had of this tiny little cub, and we have spent many, many hours checking in on the den sites, relocating the den sites as they've been moved. There have been 3 confirmed different den sites in the last 6 weeks. Hello, Swagger Lee. You would like to know if this is a leopard or a jaguar, and it is a leopard. Leopards and jaguars can be confused because they look quite similar, but jaguars only occur in South America, and they are far larger than leopards. They also look a bit more kind of thuggish, I think it's fair to say, than a leopard. Their heads and facial expressions are not as petite and beautiful as that of a leopard. They look a bit more like a gangster leopard, you could say. And we are in South Africa, which is another good way to know that this is in fact a leopard, not a jaguar. The only jaguars you would see in South Africa were ones that do not belong here. Now, I also think from time to time we may see her snarling, and I think it's possibly also in frustration of this little cub possibly playing around with her. I have seen on many accounts not only leopard but also lions snarling and hissing at their cubs when they don't take their necessary commands. Maybe she's telling that little cub to go to sleep and the cub's not taking that as an option. Hello, Deanna. You'd like to know if the fact that this leopard's sister is also moving through this general area from time to time could possibly be a threat to this little cub. And yes, it certainly could. She could well kill her sister's offspring, and it would work both ways. So it's something that I've never seen happen before, and I'm sure it hasn't been documented on too many accounts, but there is a good likelihood that even if this leopard came across a sister, they would fight over the territory. Maybe the fact that they are sisters mean they wouldn't fight as ferociously as a female leopard would fight with one that she doesn't know as well. But I'm fairly confident that by the time they come adults, it's kind of every leopard for themselves. They are solitary cats like most of the cats on the planet, and they will do whatever it takes to make sure they get the necessary territory and dominance over that territory. Now, I must reiterate, if any of you have just joined on, we are coming to you 100% live from South Africa, from an incredible reserve. And this is the first quality sighting that we are having of this leopard and her tiny little cub. Now, what could be happening is, at some point in time, this leopard could head off in search of a decent meal. She will have to leave the den, sometimes for hours on end, while she tries to secure herself a meal. And as much of a risk as it is to leave the cub here unattended, there is quite a large cave that the cub can kind of tuck itself away into, out of harm's way. And as long as it lays there hidden, it shouldn't come into any trouble. And a massive thanks to all of you that are expressing your gratitude for this incredible scene of a mother leopard with her cub. Here it comes again, Sense. Now we might get our best views yet. Hello, little Bubba. Yes, look at that. And this is so important, because not only are we getting great views of this cub, but we are slowly habituating it to vehicles. And if a leopard is not habituated to a vehicle, it will be like a ghost in the night. You will see their tracks, you will hear them call, but you will never see them. And this area that we're in at the moment is renowned for leopard viewing, and that is because over about 50 years, people have been spending time very gently getting the leopards and their cubs used to vehicles. And it requires a lot of skill. The trackers that manage to keep track of these animals by following their footprints and leading us to their den sites. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into moments like this being shared with you. And it is a massive privilege to be sitting here with all of you whilst these magical scenes unfold. Misty, you'd like to know how many hours will this cub spend sleeping every day? And I'm guessing it'll spend probably around 16 to 20 hours of sleep. Most cats sleep, even the adults, for many hours a day. But you may find that the cub is fast asleep while the mother is away hunting. Then the mother gets back and wants to have a snooze, and the cub's obviously all playful and excited to see mom. So I think that's where the kind of complications will come in for mom, in that she'll be spending a lot of time awake trying to secure meals, keeping this cub entertained, and therefore she is going to be a little bit tired, I guess it's fair to say. Is the cub practicing its climbing again? It looks like it. It's going back up what looks like an almost vertical log, and good testament to how sharp its little claws must be already. Debbie, you'd like to know if there's anything that this young little cub would hunt at this age. And yes, I think definitely a little grasshopper or a lizard would be the perfect prey to start practicing her pouncing or his pouncing techniques. It's still too difficult to tell whether this is a young boy or a girl, but in the next few weeks we will be able to uncover that mystery. But yes, anything small, even a dung beetle rolling a ball of dung past, would be something that would catch this cub's attention. And just like domestic cats, anything kind of fluffy or moving quickly away from them will trigger the chasing mechanism. Now, Dale, you would like to know if we've named this leopard yet, this little cub, and no, we haven't. At some point we will, though, but it'll just be kind of a fun name. The reason being is that it's still too small to kind of become too attached to, and ordinarily all the guides in this area will only name a leopard once it has left its mother's care, and that's usually at around 18 months of age. So in the next few weeks, possibly, I think Tristan, who found this den site first, well, the initial den site, not this one, because they've moved 3 times, but I think Tristan will have the honors of making up the name, but it'll just be our Safari Live name, rather than calling it Thandi's Cub all the time, because we do spend so much time with these animals day in and day out. It does make sense for us to name them prematurely, you could say. But then once, hopefully, it survives and goes its own way, all the guides in this area will come up with a name. My name, by the way, is Scott Dec, and it's great to have you on board. I'm teamed up with Senzo on camera. There's his 3-finger signature. Let's take a look and see if we've got any further sign of this little leopard and her mother. It looks like, though, that the mother may have headed back into the cave. There's no further sign, and basically to the right of the screen, we are guessing this kind of embankment along the edge of this riverbed, there must be a bit of a cave network, because even the mom has disappeared entirely out of our view in there a couple of times, and often we've come here just assuming that mom's not here, but she must have actually been deeply hidden away in the cave. Now, what I'm hoping is that the mom will come out once she's tucked the cub away and head off hunting. There's no guarantees, though, and we certainly are going to stick around, but we're going to say goodbye to all of you guys after I've answered Cindy's question. One last question from Cindy. You would like to know, how often are we live? We are live twice a day for 3 hours a day on average, in the morning and in the evening. So if you check out Safari Live on YouTube or on Facebook, you will find YouTube's probably a good option. It'll tell you when we will next be going live, and it's very, very easy to follow on. We urge you to. We love to have as many people on board the largest safari vehicle on the planet. What an incredible sighting it's been. Because the leopard has disappeared away, we will say goodbye to you. If you would like to continue watching, like I say, you can go onto YouTube and follow us there and find out what is going to happen next. But for everyone on Facebook, bye for now. Okay, everyone, so I had to keep, there's this funny random silence that we have to, for some reason, keep quiet for like 30 seconds. Oh, well done, Sens. Looks like they're coming up into another good spot here. But yes, just to fully explain myself, we have to just keep quiet after we've said goodbye to Facebook. Don't ask me why, but that is why I did keep quiet. And it seems like our luck is not over yet. I can hear a few branches breaking. It sounds like some elephants are moving through the scene. They actually are, but they're quite far away, so I don't think they're going to cause any trouble. And ordinarily, I don't think leopards are going to provide a tiny little leopard like this tucked away in its den any issues at all. I hope it keeps coming up to the spot where we first saw it, because it was definitely most out in the open there. There it comes. I cannot believe it's come up onto the same level as us again, and I hope it takes a few exploratory steps towards us. You keep coming. Come and say hello. Now, do we go live on Facebook again or not? That is the question. Tricky one. I'm concerned that it's just going to turn around and go straight back, and then we're going to, I think we'll keep this treat for our devoted Safari Live followers.
Hey, don't go too far. What are you doing? Hey, this is definitely a little rebel. Can you believe it? Thandi, where are you? You should be following this little cub more closely. No, I can't believe how far it's going away from the den. But again, I haven't been lucky enough to spend a huge amount of time in and around leopard den sites in the 10 years that I've been in this industry. Well, have you got another hiding spot in the log there? I think it's possibly not a bad thing for it to explore all of its getaway points around this area. And I guess like to the real deal. Hyenas, lions, kills, chaos really. So I guess you can't have them wrapped up in cotton wool for too long, otherwise when they do hit the streets they're going to have no idea of what's going on. I can't believe how far it's venturing off. I'm astounded actually. Is it still going? Thandi, call him or her back. I'm getting worried now. It's too far. You've probably found Thandi's just parked off in the cave having a snooze. Couldn't agree more with you. This little cub is absolutely precious. It's one of the most precious things I think my eyes have ever laid eyes on. It is, without a doubt, actually. Imagine how cute that thing would be to hold in your hands, even though we should never want to do that. But I guess it's human instinct to want to cuddle things that are cute. But it's very important that on that topic, I emphasize that wild animals should not be in our hands at any given point of ours or their lives. So try and avoid situations like that if you can. And I believe very strongly in that. If somebody wants to rehabilitate them or look after them, that's fine. They just don't need to be cuddled along the way. That, in my opinion, is a money-making racket. So, what to do? I cannot believe that this little cub has moved so far, but there are some... I think, for now, we can possibly send you off to some other safari vehicles which are also out. If any of you have just joined in, it's not just myself out here. Tristan's also out, as well as Ralph, and possibly Taylor still as well. Now, Sanka, you would like to know if anything happened to this little leopard cub. Would we try and help it out? No, not unless it was a human that caused the trouble with the cub. Then I would give him a kung fu chop. But if something happened, a wild animal came in, or a hyena or another leopard, we just have to sit and spectate. Our job here is to be spectators and not interfere, unless of course a human comes in and then you hiya kung fu chop. But it's unlikely that a human's going to come and do anything. So yeah. Now, we are not going to go anywhere. We're going to stay put, and as soon as that little fluffy furball comes back into the scene, we will rush you back. For now, you've got another spotted cat with Tristan.